Hi everyone, and welcome back to another installment in the AgilePoint Generative AI video series. In this video, we're going to show you how AgilePoint's Generative AI can take a PDF and instantly transform it into a working business application. Now, if you've been following this series, that probably sounds familiar, but there's going to be one unique wrinkle in that the scenario that we use for today is going to show how not only AgilePoint can ingest this PDF and transpose it into the AgilePoint context, it will do so by exactly preserving the layout that you're seeing here on screen. So let's take a look at our PDF. As you can see here, it's a customer order management scenario. We have an order number, which is going to come over as a sequence number, order date, first, middle, and last name as a 3-column layout, phone number and email as a 2-column layout, address as one field stretched all the way across, city, state, and postal code, again in a 3-column layout, and the details of the order, which is shown here as a grid. And lastly, a number of these fields are marked with an asterisk, telling us that it's a mandatory field. So what you're going to see here is AgilePoint take this PDF, bring it over into AgilePoint, keeping the names of the various fields and preserving the layout exactly as you're seeing here. So with that being said, let's jump into the builder and get started using generative AI. For today, we're going to build a form-based application. We'll give our application a name. Drop it into a category. So here AgilePoint is asking if I'd like to create a widget form. And in case you're unfamiliar, a widget form is created with the express purpose of hosting on a landing page built in Page Builder. Since that doesn't apply, we're going to go ahead and leave not required selected. And of course, we do want to create our form using AI. Now next, you're seeing a number of different ways I can use AI to build my application. In past videos, we'd shown you the Let AI Decide option, where we provide a prompt or a description of the application we want to build, and AgilePoint takes it from there. Similarly, we've also shown images or screenshots, like of a legacy application as an example, an Excel sheet, but as we mentioned, today we're going to show a PDF. Now there are a number of ways that I can attach my PDF for processing. I can browse through connected repositories or simply upload it from my local file system. I'm going to choose that last option. So now AgilePoint is understanding the PDF and is going to come back with a list of fields to use for our application and columns for our data store. Okay, so here are the list of fields that have been suggested for our application, and these will also be the corresponding columns for our data store. So the first thing I want to do here is select Show the Line Breaks, which is going to illustrate how the fields are grouped on the form and show you how AgilePoint has faithfully preserved the layout of our existing PDF. So as you can see here, we have order number and order date grouped together, just like in the PDF. First, middle, and last name, again, grouped together. Down below, we have phone and email, which are again grouped together. Address being on its own line. City, state, and postal code, again grouped together, which tracks with our PDF. Down towards the bottom, we have a table, which has been represented as a subform, and we're going to come back to make a few configurations before we're done. So scrolling back up to the top, let's go ahead and reclassify the order number to a type of sequence number. A little further down, we'll find the postal code. And again, reclassify that. And just above, you're seeing that state has been correctly interpreted as a type of pick list with the field type of drop-down list. So now let's go ahead and configure this. And as you can see on screen, there are a few options here. One, I can generate fresh values using generative AI, but in my case, I know that I have an existing pick list. And lastly, let's go into our table, which as you can see here is a subform. And just to highlight the intelligence here, for all of the columns in my subform, they have been, again, correctly interpreted exactly as you'd see in our PDF. Okay, so everything's looking pretty good here. Okay, so that brings us to setting up our primary entity. If you recall, in our PDF, we have a parent table as well as a child table with all of the order details. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the primary field as order number. And as a next step, we'll set up our child table. So I'm going to leave the primary field as the record ID. Our parent primary field is going to be the order number. And the child field display name is going to be the order number. Okay, so that brings us to a screen where we can add optional application artifacts, things like connection strings, file repositories, CSS, and JavaScript. We don't have to add this now, so I'm going to skip through this. And for now, let's go ahead and go with the default application security. So now that we've configured our application, AgilePoint is going to drop us into the designer where we're going to see a complete business application. Now from there, we have options to add rules, things like totals for our purchases, and then our application will be ready to go. Okay, so just like you might have seen in prior videos, AgilePoint has pre-created all of the application components on our behalf. We have a new form where we can enter new customer purchases, an update form to make modifications to prior purchases, 3 views, all records, recently created and recently modified records, with a lookup for each of those views. Okay, so as you can see here, our form is now open in design mode. And just to add a little more intelligence, I'm going to go into the Order Details tab and configure my subform. So what I'd like to do here is just add the subtotal button, and we're going to have that for the total amount. Now as a last step, just to do some final validation, I want to bring this up in preview and test the functionality. So as you can see here, we have our phone control, our email control, and our drop-down list. So now all that's left is to save and check this in, publish it, and add a few records. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a new record. All right, so to save some time here, I filled this in on my own. But as you can see here, if I navigate over to my order details section, I have my subform with multiple rows and a sum total for all of the products purchased. So with that, I can go ahead and submit this record. It's now going to have its own unique ID, as you're seeing here on the left-hand side. And that's going to conclude the content for this video. I hope you enjoyed learning how AgilePoint's large language model and generative AI capabilities can not only ingest PDFs with master detail sorts of data structures, but can also preserve the layout faithfully to ease the adoption of a new digital way of working. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.